Goddamn.
So
Lewis part.
So if we had done this playthrough like 2 months ago, this wouldn't even exist. And Planet Bomber does not look right in realistic graphics. Oh my god, that's so bizarre.
Yeah, the moon's full again. It's half of it's supposed to be blown up.
But anyway, yeah. So this planet was actually added, I think, like only a couple of weeks ago at the time of this recording, right? Like 2 or 3.
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it is. Which is, you know, I'm surprised.
Also, Planet Bomber gets its own Pokemon craze.
Oh, it's like it's 1998 all over again.
It's like cute, colorful little ball sacks.
Look at their dead eyes.
So kawaii.
Desu.
What's a kawaii?
Kawaii ball sack.
Okay. I don't need to hear about how you kawaii your ball sack, okay, John?
No. It's fine. It's spelled B-A-L-Z-A-C. Z-A-C, yeah.
So, is that your ball sack's nobody then?
No. It's Balzac.
Balzac. Oh, that's an enemy from Dragon Quest.
Oh, nice.
What?
Yeah, there's actually an enemy in Dragon Quest called Balzac, which is I think like B-A-L-Z-A-C-K. Z-A-C-K.
No, I think it's just Z-A-C.
Z-A-C-K. And then then when he transforms later in the game and becomes bigger, he's Balzac with 2 A's.
Yeah.
I was more thinking of a overly inflated Zack from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I'm Balzac. Suffer off. Bounce, bounce, bounce.
So Tifa, how do I look in this outfit? I know I've put on a few pounds. So this stage is obnoxious. I should mention.
Yeah, because you guys are talking about World 7 throughout this entire commentary, and I'm wondering, what is it about?
No, it's weird. The first half of it is no problem at all.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's actually kind of interesting, so...
Wait, hold on. Is it now loading or is it saving?
Both. So, okay, so what's interesting about this stage is that you only fight variations of the balloon enemies in this one, which, you know, ties in with the story, which is neat. And they also, like, so they do have variations of the other enemies in there. So they just have, like, balloons that are shaped differently, and they act functionally identical to other enemies from other worlds in the game. The difference is, like, this first stage is pretty simple. The thing is that you'll get to stages later where these guys will spawn, and they'll spawn and spawn and spawn so quickly to the point where there are, like, dozens of enemies on the stage at any given time.
And there are enemies that when you shoot them, drop more enemies.
Yeah, so, like, you'll kill an enemy and 2 more will take its place. And there's already, like, 6 enemies on the screen. Well, not...
Yeah, Hydra.
And then they also introduce some other mechanics throughout. Like, they bring back basically everything that's been in the game up to this point, which actually I like. So they, like, bring back pressing switches, collecting keys, saving hostages, all that stuff. So it's like kind of like, okay, like this is actually really fun. This level has the variety in stage layout that I've been asking for. But then you get to like the last handful of stages,
and the difficulty goes from a fairly standard incline to 89 degrees.
Yeah, like I mean, this is a bonus world, so it should be harder. I don't have a problem with that in theory, but there's a difference between hard and obnoxious, or so hard that it's not fun. And it definitely does plop over to the other side. Like, okay, so that red guy up there, if you kill him, he will pop out two more balloons. And then you'll have to kill both of those at the same time. And
well, not at the same time. But...
well, you'll have to deal with them now is the thing.
Yeah.
And since there's so many stages where killing all the enemies isn't the requirement, that you'll have...
They'll just keep spawning and spawning. And
yeah, like, just wait till you see the end of this stage. There's literally dozens of them by the time you get to some areas. Like, honestly, again, this one's not bad when you start off. Like, the first 3 or 4 aren't the worst, but the second half is obnoxious. And the other thing about it, too, is that throughout the game, most of the worlds have had 8 stages and then a boss fight. Instead of that, though, since there's no Dastardly Bomber fight in this stage, there's a level 9 instead. So it makes the level feel longer than it really is. Because in terms of actual stages, it's the same amount. But not having a Dastardly Bomber fight means that you have another normal stage, which is really, really long and also obnoxious. So it's easily the longest stage in the game too, so it wears out its welcome pretty quickly. Music's nice though.
Yeah, and it looks pretty.
Yeah, like this is again the vibrant kind of setting that I kind of wanted more throughout. Only some of the stages kind of feel like I think look the way they should. Like, I mean, granted, not that you can't have a dark, like, color palette for a few levels, but it just, like, World 1 and World 1 and 4 in particular, I think are very dingy looking, and it's just not super pleasant.
Now, just to make sure I heard you guys correctly, you said this was just added a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, it was just, they added a lot of content very recently. They added a couple of new playable characters.
Some new stages.
New stages.
And an entirely new chapter of the story.
And also a new
battle.
multiplayer mode, the Grand Prix. Which has its own extra cutscene and, like, new rules. It's like a 3-on-3.
Oh, the cutscene is glorious.
It's like a 3-on... Okay, so the Grand Prix mode, I think we can do it online, so if/when we get to a multiplayer part, we can show it off, but it's like a 3-on-3 multiplayer fight where, like, you have to, like, do different things than just trying to kill each other all the time. Like, there's collecting crystals and a few other things that you have to do. What's actually interesting there is that you can, if you're playing as a standard Bomberman, you can give them whatever special ability you want. So you can have a Bomberman use Simon Belmont's whip, for example. Because why the hell not? Although, wouldn't that, like, kill them, though? Like, isn't that what happened to Jonathan Morris in the Genesis game or something?
Well, the plot line of John Morris dying to the vampire killer wasn't a thing until Portrait of Ruin.
Oh, okay.
How does that work?
Go, it's not. He's not a Belmont.
The
But
vampire
how does that
killer
work?
It's magic.
If you're not a Belmont, it drains your vitality by using the whip.
It's magic.
So it's wait, it's a Master Sword?
Kinda.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. If you're not a Belmont, continuing use of the whip will eventually kill you.
Yeah. So, like, so Jonathan Morris is in Portrait of Ruin and Bloodlines?
No, John Morris is in Bloodlines. His son, Jonathan Morris, is the protagonist of Portrait of Ruin.
Oh my god.
God damn it, JoJo.
He named it. Like, I mean, if you want him to be a junior, that's fine. But then just name him Jonathan. Like, or John, or whatever. Okay, I always thought that they were the same character.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Ted, look at the box art.
I am not John, I am John.
Look, okay. Look, that was still at the point when they were using the terrible generic anime art for
I think you
Castlevania.
mean amazing. Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were talking about the Bloodlines artwork.
Yeah. Oh, no. I was talking
I
about
am
Portrait of Ruin.
Spartacus.
Like, okay, nothing makes me sadder than looking at the Aria of Sorrow artwork and then going immediately to the Dawn of Sorrow artwork.
Dawn of Sorrow. Yeah,
The key art, I should say. The sprite animation in that game is still fantastic. A lot of it's pulled straight from Aria. Granted.
But like character portraits and concepts, it's look straight out of a Saturday morning anime.
Yeah, it's just like, how do we make this look as less interesting as possible? And that's basically...
And on the cheap.
Yeah. So Dawn of Sorrow, to me, had the number one...
Here's where it starts getting bullshit.
I got through this level without dying. No idea how, but I did.
Well, no, it's not the hardest thing to do, but it's very easy to get overrun.
Just wait until you get to the end of the... end. It's like...
Because all the enemy spawners are where you can't really reach them.
Yeah, they're up there, and they can all jump down to you, but you can't go up to them. And, like,
they will keep spawning, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and I swear there's no limit to how many of these guys can be on screen. Which, I mean, I suppose if this were a GameCube game, that'd be impressive, I guess, because that was all about what it was. But
that's the entirety of why Pikmin came to be.
Yeah, but, like, the little blue guys, when you kill them, they spawn that orange and yellow one, is the thing. And there are instances where you can blow them up and be safe, and then they just pop on you and you're dead. Pretty much. And there's not a lot you can do about it. It is, like, I mean, look at this. like, I just decided that I can bottleneck
you're getting
them
lucky
here.
that you're getting lucky that they're not coming. They're just deciding not to come down.
But this is the safest place to be because there's only 2 places where they can come and get me. So I can put bombs up, and then I'm lucky that you know what I'm lucky for though is that they're not jumping that much. If they were gonna jump over like pillars more often, I would probably be screwed. But now at this point, I was thinking, how the fuck am I supposed to get to the exit? That was my thought process, because I've only got a little bit in terms of firepower, too, so...
Well, there's so many blocks, it's not that big of a deal in terms of firepower, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting very lucky that they're playing nice.
Yeah, this is terrifying, basically. I never thought... Oh! How I want to know how I didn't die there. It's like
Son.
Yeah, I basically just took the first clear opening I saw, and yeah. So that's really the point where it just starts becoming obnoxious, basically, because now... Well,
this one's not too bad.
Well, that's because there's a limited amount
really
of
good.
enemies, is the thing. Like, there will never be more than this, basically. Although what's funny is that sometimes the counter goes up, because you kill the enemies that spawn more enemies.
Yeah. It's a little weird like that.
So is all this DLC free?
Yes, it's free. Splatoon
Yep.
Splatoon DLC model, basically.
Yep, just put the game in and then update the game and it's there.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's great, personally. Like,
I think that was Konami trying to buy the goodwill back.
I mean, granted, like, you have it for Bomberman, but it's kind of like they have to earn it back for every subsequent franchise. Like, I think the
not entirely, I think, but
I think that even if they do get the Castlevania fans happy, for example, I think that they'll still have to make the Metal Gear fans happy.
well, I was going to say Metal Gear is the one exception to that.
Yeah.
Just because of how they treated Kojima and the franchise as a whole.
Yeah,
in
but
particular.
it was Castlevania and Silent Hill and Metal Gear are the ones that were considered to be, like, super screwed over, right? If I remember.
yeah.
Was there anything I'm forgetting?
Yeah, I would say it's about it, but no, because around that time,
Nothing
older
was going on
franchises
anyway.
were still, they were pretty irrelevant at the time anyway.
Yeah,
so,
like, nobody's really asking for a new Gradius game. Sorry, John.
yeah, or Contra, for that matter.
Yeah.
You know what? Like,
I mean, I'd like a new Contra, but
It's called Cuphead.
he's not wrong.
but yeah, so again, like, if they do make like a good Silent Hill game, like, I don't know if that will make Castlevania fans any more happy. Like, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but
It's one of those. I think you're more or less fine as long as you keep up with the quality. It's just a matter of Metal Gear's the one exception, specifically because of how they handled Kojima.
Right. I think that is more. Honestly, I don't. They fucked up with Survive. Like, that was totally not the thing to do.
there's also PT too as well, because Kojima was working on that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's what we mean by well. That's just that just goes under the Silent Hill umbrella.
Oh, okay.
With Castlevania, I think if the quality's there,
All's
you know,
forgiven.
people will buy it and look forward to it.
Yeah.
You know, and that won't necessarily forgive Konami, but they at least have a decent Castlevania game to look forward to. Metal Gear, though, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they never touch Metal Gear ever again.
Like, because, well, I mean,
Because
Kojima didn't
first
work on
off,
all of the Metal
there's-
Gears, though, right?
Well, most of
No,
the ones
but
most of the ones he didn't work on were not important to begin with.
Yeah, they're not built. They're important to their filler games, like the Acid series,
Okay.
Or Ghost Babylon or something.
or Ghost Babel, which is, you know, a good game in its own right, but it's like a lot of people didn't play it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it
so,
doesn't
like, if
really
they made,
matter.
like, a Metal Gear Solid 6, people would
Yeah.
be not...
Very upset.
Yeah.
Which I don't think would ever happen, given all the backstage shenanigans with Kojima. Their response to that later down the road was making a Snake Eater pachinko machine and making a survival horror zombie shooter afterwards. It's like, no,
You've burned any potential goodwill this series has.
you struck out too many times.
Yeah,
So-
not to mention, like, people were apparently Konami meddling was part of the reason why Metal Gear Solid 5 had the issues it did. Is also how I understand
a lot of the issues it had, why Kiefer is Snake.
Well, no, I don't think casting Kiefer as Snake had anything to do with it. It just primarily goes to explain why 5 is so incomplete as a story.
I mean, like, changing Snake's voice actor is something that pissed people off, but I think it's one of those things where it's not any one individual thing, it's just a combination of a lot of different things, you know?
I think the decision to cast Kiefer as Snake was Kojima's decision.
I don't think it is, because I know David and Kojima are on fine terms. Or at least were, anyway.
I'll have to look it up. I don't think it was Konami's decision to cast someone.
Well, not entirely their decision. I'm just saying I don't think it was inherently a Kojima decision either.
I have a feeling that it wasn't a Kojima decision because at least from what I understand of Japanese voice acting culture, if you voice a character, that character is kind of considered yours. So I feel like Kojima wouldn't cast someone else as Snake unless if he had a really good reason, and I can't see.
Well, considering the plot twist of 5, that was a perfect reason.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of a weird thing to do, considering.
It'd be dedication to the craft, though, if they used it as for that reason, but they don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they're smart enough to do it for that reason, but.
Oh no! I would say no. I would think Kojima's smart enough to do it, but that's not the reason they go with.
Well, you know,
is ultimately what.
But I think also the thing is that if they were going to do that, they would also still have David Hayter in the game as the real big boss. Is the thing.
Yeah.
So then that's not the case. Kiefer plays the real big boss too, doesn't he?
Yes. He
so
does.
yeah. So if they were going to go with that for the twist, like, oh, that's how you're supposed to know it's not actually Big Boss, then. I think that they screwed that up in execution. Then.
True enough.
So
I think if Konami is ever going to do anything with Metal Gear, it'll be remakes of previous games.
Or at least waiting.
I
think they'd wait a long, long time, is my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the only way they could even consider is if, not even just remakes, but just straight up reboot everything.
Reboot, probably. Yeah.
But I think that would also... People generally don't like it when their franchise gets rebooted, though. Like, that generally...
Not disagreeing, but I'm just saying that's the only way I think they could do it without completely ruining everything.
If they want to make the Metal Gear money again, they would... I don't know. They can't continue the story, in my opinion.
Because that's entirely Kojima's thing.
I think the thing, though, is that they've already tried to reboot stuff before, and nobody cares about Lords of Shadow Castlevania, for example. Like, nobody cares. At least as far as...
Ironic, given that Kojima was involved in that.
Yeah, but, like, the Lords of Shadow... Like, I mean, granted, like, I know some people like those games, but I think when people say they want a new Castlevania, they mean they want a new...
No one's talking about the Lords of Shadow style.
I think they're talking, like, a 2D Metroidvania, or I think there's a small...
Or a Classicvania. I
think there's the audience for Classicvania is smaller, but I think people would still be happy just to see the
Well, no, there are plenty of people... I mean, I think you're right, it is smaller, but there's still plenty of people who like Classicvania.
Oh, no, definitely, for sure. I'm just saying, like, I think that there would be some people who would be very excited to see a Classicvania, but I think a lot of people would prefer to see a Metroidvania.
There is a market for both if you keep it as a digital download at a reasonable price.
Yeah, you know, like I think that I don't think that people are expecting full.
You got to market it because they did something like that with Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth on the Wii.
Yeah, I remember that.
A remake of the Game Boy game, and it was a great game, but nobody fucking talked about it.
No, because it was a $5 WiiWare title, and the WiiWare sucked. So, yeah. So it's, I think
I'm going to assume that if Bloodstained does really well, and I'm hoping it does.
I hope it breaks the Kickstarter curse. Is also the thing.
Well, no, the Kickstarter curse has been broken.
Well,
so.
No, I think. Yeah, it's just that
Shovel Knight's a great game.
Not the Kickstarter curse, like in terms of anything being kickstarted is bad, because there's lots of good.
Well, the stink, Kickstarter stink.
Well, I more mean in terms of specifically these new franchises that are clearly designed to be a not something. Because, like...
Designed by the guys who did the first
Yeah, because,
thing
like, Mighty Number 9 has issues. I personally like Yooka-Laylee, but I know a lot of people have issues with that game as well.
I think even people who like it can still say it still has issues.
Yeah, Yooka-Laylee isn't, like, a Mighty Number 9 failure, but it's got problems, for sure. What I really would like is if Bloodstain's, like, just straight up fantastic, no issues, just a great game, you know? Like, I think that...
And I'm hopeful from when I play from the demo. It plays pretty much like a Metroidvania game.
When's that due to be out?
Next year, I think.
Next year, I believe.
AKA this
year.
By 2018.
2018. Yeah. Just for context of when this is going uploaded versus when we're recording it.
I cannot wait for, like, a Castlevania game to be announced in, like, early January, and for all of this to be, like, made completely obsolete. I mean, it probably won't happen.
Good.
To be fair, Ted, you tend to do that in these things.
It happened one time. All right, like.
But damn, what a one time.
Yep.
You're welcome, for the record. So yeah, Bomb Glove wasn't worth it. There, for the record.
Nah, just finish the stage.
Yeah.
Do you think here's a question. I know it's completely unrelated to Bomberman, but this is.
Wait, we haven't talked about Bomberman in like 20 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, we haven't did this video. Like, do you think Mega Man 11 is only happening because Mighty Number 9?
Oh, no doubt.
I think I don't think it's the only reason. It played a part, though. Yeah. Like, I think that I honestly, here's the thing. I think that for most of these major companies, they're always thinking about ways to use their major properties. Like, I think people have brought up the idea of making an F-Zero game in Nintendo multiple times.
Well, Nintendo has admitted to that. They tried to get the Burnout devs to do it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, they were going to get the Burnout devs to do it, but because they're a pretty small company and they were already working on something else, they had to decline.
Oh, man, that sucks. But, yeah, like...
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying that, like, again, like, Nintendo always has a plan for a Star Tropic sequel, but, like, for big things, like, I'm sure they're always tossing around ideas.
Oh, they're always tossing around ideas for any... Basically, if they're in Smash Brothers, there's probably some ideas floating around for them.
Yeah.
That's more or less my general rule of thumb.
Like, and I'm sure that the same thing is with Capcom as well. Like, I'm sure that between the 10 years... No, not 10, more like 7 years between Mega Man games, somebody was surely thinking about, okay, how can we get a new Mega Man game made? It was probably, like, there's dozens of reasons why it couldn't have happened. But I think, like, Mighty Number 9 not doing well and seeing that there was still a demand for a game like this could have been one of the tipping points for them saying, okay, let's bring back actual Mega Man now.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because honestly, again, like, not to say that these kinds of games take less work, but at least in terms of production team size and cost, a Mega Man game is not as expensive to make as, you know, your typical
Resident Evil 7.
As Resident Evil 7, a big, huge RPG, you know, something like that. It's more manageable. It's not as big of a risk to make a Mega Man 11 as it would be to make. Oh God, I'm trying to think, like. Even like a Street Fighter 5, I would say even. Like, because fighting games... Okay, maybe that's not the best example, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, making a Mega Man 11 as a 2D platformer like the old Mega Man games is not as big of a risk as making like a full 3D action platformer in Mega Man. Fuck this stage. I hate this stage so much.
We're staging the game.
Easily.
Or what is it about?
So you see this little platform I'm standing in right now? The only way to get to that switch is to place a bomb there and then use that as a stopgap to get past that ice block. You have to do this constantly, and as you go...
The enemies infinitely respawn, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Okay, so you see how clear and manageable everything looks right now?
That'll go bye-bye in about a minute.
Yeah, like 2 minutes from now, look at that screen again. And
all this ice that you can't control where you're going are leading bombs.
Yeah, and the fact that you're expected, like you're required to use bombs as a stopgap multiple times, and you're like encouraged to use them as a stopgap to very dangerously pick up power-ups too. Like, I mean, that's your own fault if you die to that, but it's still like a very present danger. You know, just like, I want that power-up, should I go for it? And then when you do, you die, basically.
So, yeah, you can get overwhelmed very, very quickly.
Like especially if you see that like ice thing in the middle, I don't think it's possible to be able to place a bomb where it can actually blow up the thing in the middle, unless if you slide around and use the bomb stopgap technique we were talking about earlier. And
yeah. But you can plant a bomb while sliding on
No.
a controller.
no, you can't.
You can't.
No, you
Oh,
can't.
okay.
That's part of what. That's why World 4 is so annoying. Is also the thing. And like there was a situation there where I just could not escape without dying because a balloon was there. So either I died due to the bomb.
That was your own fault, though.
That one was my own fault, yes. But the one before that, I either died to the bomb or I died to the balloon, and there was no other way around it, basically. So it's just not fair, basically, is the thing.
So yeah, that's why it's the worst level in the game.
Yeah, easily. Like, I mean, you see, I'm lucky that I thought to do the bomb stopgap thing early, because it's very, very possible that, like, Ryan was stuck on that, and then
Yeah, I was stuck for a while.
You're just sitting there wondering how you're supposed to get there, and as you do, more and more enemies keep spawning, and they're these big ones, so trying to kill them just spawns more enemies, and it's nonsense, really. That's what this stage is nonsense.
That's what it feels like, anyway.
You have to do that little thing I just did 3 times for the record, and the only way to really get to the back to where you're supposed to be. Ah, damn it!
Have fun trying to 3-star this.
Oh, dude.
And as I said, you are at that point you can already get Pretty Bomber from the normal stages. So the only thing you get for 3-starring this is more pom-pom parts.
You see, what's also the thing though is that the score limit's tight enough that if you can beat the stage without any deaths, but if you without any continues, I should say. Sorry.
And still not get it.
Yeah, if you're at like 1 or 0 lives left. So you have to play pretty damn well, is also the thing.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, I was using Plasma Bomber, but...
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think Plasma Bomber would help.
Well, no, he helps because he can clear things out a bit more quickly.
Yeah, but...
I mean, yeah, look at this nonsense.
Like, how are you supposed to do that? Dude, you can't line up, you can't... The big thing is that you can't think about how you're supposed to go through that ice path in the middle, because there's so many enemies around, you're so busy dodging it that you can't think about both things at the same time. Or at least I can't, I'm not that smart. You know, maybe you guys are in the comments.
Easy to get discombobulated.
Yeah, because as we all know, YouTube commenters are the best people at video games in the entire world. If you
at everything.
If you post a YouTube comment, you're simultaneously not only better at me at every video game ever, but you've also fucked my mom several times in the past 5 minutes. Like, I mean, she's sitting in the other room, and I didn't hear you, but you know, I guess you did it. Oh man, you sure did have actual sex with my mother. That. Yep.
Thank God that stage is over.
Yeah, that level sucks. So I was honestly expecting like a level 10, but thank God there's not that. So now, I swear that this cutscene here is a poke at Nintendo. Because there's this shady salesman guy here, and he's trying to sell the bombs to the people to make money and whatnot. And he says stuff like, oh, it's the consumer's fault for getting because the bombs like feed on negative energy or whatever. And he's like, oh, it's the consumer's fault for getting angry that they're not in stock. And then they bring up, but the only reason why these things aren't in stock is because you aren't putting them in stores. So I swear that's making fun of Nintendo for not putting out Switches.
Or Amiibo.
Or basically anything they make.
NES Classics, SNES Classics.
Yeah.
You consumers are the ones to be blamed. Balums are creatures that can transform.
Why are you wearing a hat?
So he could sneak out he's got a genie lamp in there for some reason. Okay.
Like other
all right.
intellectual life forms, the reason why all these balums are rioting is
Is it me or does this guy sound like he's drunk?
from those who are frustrated.
Kind of, yeah.
Purchase a balum.
Can't blame the consumers when you're purposely keeping
Yeah.
them scarce.
I swear that line's a fuck you to Nintendo.
Frustrated in the first
It's just like, oh no, Wii U's aren't selling as well as we want them to. Well, you didn't put them in stock there, Nintendo. So...
Do you think I do make the consoles?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Also, you never fight this guy because he gets squished by a giant...
Balloon.
balloon.
The magic balloon.
It must be that the Ballums in the warehouse ate each other and became
Wow, that's-
huge Ballums.
They ate each other.
These animals, they'll eat each other. Yes, that's exactly what happened, actually. Huh.
Do. This boss fight's fine. Like,
Yeah, the boss fight isn't really a problem.
no. I mean, it's a lot of fun, actually, I think, because it doesn't function a lot like the other bosses a lot, because you can hit him basically at any point, which is not like the other bosses very much at all.
Yeah, it's like a little safe zone here, and you're so big.
Yeah, like, you can bomb at him at any given time, is the thing. So, it's not really a matter so much of not being able to hit him. It's more a matter of, like, dodging the counterattack he does when you do hit him. Because every time you hit him, he, like, explodes balloons at you.
And his normal self just kind of darts around.
Yeah, that's not too... Like, this part... This is, I think, we're making a huge line. Okay, he just didn't take damage there.
Yeah, clearly. So it was probably because he was on his transition to his next phase.
Didn't look like it, but okay. Sure,
Yeah,
alright.
this is the one boss where laying lots of rows would actually do something.
Like, not for this phase, but the one where
The
he's, like,
mini phase, yeah.
running around, for sure. Yeah, but this is actually, I think, one of the more fun bosses in the game. Otherwise, though. It's just the stage before it.
Oof.
You see, that's one of those things about video games. Most video games don't have either hard stages and hard bosses. It's always one or the other. It's like, oh, the stage is really obnoxious, but when you get to the boss, it's fine. Or the stages are fine, but when you get to the boss, it's a nightmare, you know? Like, I can't think of any video game that has both. Off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure there is some, but...
Wait, one more time. We're
Okay.
easy bosses, hard stage.
Okay, so I can't think of a game where it's both hard stages and hard bosses. Only one or the other.
Oh. Dark Souls?
No, the entire thing is hard. Oh,
Well, no, that's technically fitting your criteria where they're both the same.
yeah, Yeah, but Dark Souls isn't actually hard, John. I was able to beat it with a DDR pad on my first run, blindfolded. You're just bad. Get good.
To be fair, you have to have a high IQ to understand Dark Souls.
And so the Ballums are free or something, I guess.
No, the bombs are still around. The day is saved as long as everyone's still happy.
Yeah, but you know, God forbid somebody like lose their job, get pissed off, their pet Ballum goes berserk, causing a mass panic in the house, which then makes the Ballums in the apartments next door freak out, which causes another mass uprising, and the Bomberman brothers have to go through stage 7-9 again, and that makes me frustrated, which makes a cat come through the window and eat me.
The moral of the story is, buy our fucking products. Hail capitalism.
It came back to me, which means that it's my baby. If you don't like that, then fight me.
Actual fight me. Too much attention.
Guys, you know, can't we just be nice?
Aw, those doofuses. Why can't they just get along?
Seems like no matter what case they solve.
Man, this room must be really dusty if they can pull up a huge anime dust cloud like that. Does nobody clean?
They're robots.
Yeah, so shouldn't they have a robot cleaner? The Jetsons have one.
Actually, that's true. If the Bomberman brothers have like a Roomba, is that slavery?
Here's the English version.
You see, John, the only response to that is the thinking emoji. Alright. Yeah, so this is the English version of Hero. I'm glad that they did make an English version, but I don't think that it's as good as the Japanese one.
Yeah.
It honestly depends on. Let's see. I'm trying to think of.
Well, for this case in particular, the song is about how, like, oh, you're a doofus, but you're still, like, my hero, is basically the overall arcing theme of it. But it doesn't, the lyrics don't quite work as well in English. Like, you can get the same feeling across, but it just doesn't have the same feeling to it.
I know, it's kind of hard to explain.
That's a translation thing,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't get the same feelings across when you cross the language barrier a lot of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, to me, it's harder to explain. Where I just like, I don't know. I just think it sounds better in Japanese, and that's because I'm like a giant Japanophile or anything like that. It's more like, no, I listen to the music, and for some reason, I think it just sounds.
The melody
better
was
in
clearly
Japanese.
clearly written with the language in mind.
Yes, I think that's it as well.
Yeah, because there's some...
Well, no, that's a constant problem with... It was not really a fad, but more common in like the later 90s and early 2000s, where a lot of anime openings were tried to be translated to English in some way, and it almost never worked.
The Sailor Moon one I actually like better in English than Japanese.
That's like the rare exception though, where they actually kind of made it work.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people are going to get upset at me because I know there's a lot of people who hate the English Sailor Moon opening. Hi, Catherine.
You know what though? There's like Dragon Ball music. I think often doesn't work in English.
Did they translate
Yeah.
any of the Dragon Ball music into English?
Later down the road, more GT than anything.
Yeah,
And
which
the
is
original
weird.
Dragon Ball. Like the original Dragon Ball, because you gotta remember, those songs from the Dragon Ball are from the 80s, like mid-80s.
Yeah, but I thought that the
And-
openings for the original Dragon Ball in English were just instrumental. Anyway.
No, they're English ones.
No, they're vocals.
And there's like they did like all the endings in English as well for like the DVDs and stuff. And
you know what? I just don't like any.
They tried their best, but
the only one I actually like more in English than I do Japanese is I forgot the name of it, but it was one of the credit themes to Dragon Ball.
Yeah, like I know the Dragon Ball anime in English uses the Japanese score for like the TV show, like the actual.
yeah,
scene.
there's no like Bruce Faulkner version of Dragon Ball or anything.
Yeah.
No, to my knowledge, no. But like the GT songs, I love them in Japanese. I don't think they sound really good in English.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you can't. But a lot of the time, though, like you can't play a song in a foreign language on American television. Like, I mean, theoretically,
Actually,
could.
actually, you could. G Gundam did that.
I mean, but that was Toonami, though. If you're like actually trying to,
No, this was mid '90s Toonami.
oh, huh, okay, it's
Yeah.
like as 2000s onward, like you couldn't convince a studio to let you do that. Like,
Yeah.
kids will
And
get
let's not forget-
confused.
Let's not forget the ocean dub of Dead Zone and World's Strongest kept those Gohan sequences in
in Japanese.
in Japanese.
Yeah, but
Well,
they
no, the
played Rock
weirdest
the
one
Dragon,
was,
though, so kids wouldn't be
yeah, no-
confused.
Well, no, the weird one was Rurouni Kenshin had an English version of its opening, but all the ending themes were in Japanese on broadcast TV.
I'm surprised that they actually played the endings, because in American television, they might have like an ending theme, but they'll always either like quiet it or like they'll cut to a commercial and have the credits zoom by really quick on the left side of
Yeah.
the screen.
Oh, that happened all the time, yeah.
Yeah. And just in case you wanted to listen to the ending theme, don't worry, we took care of that too. Come
Yeah. So it's just a weird situation where there's no real good way to translate Japanese songs, so most places kind of just gave up.
Yeah. Also, then it's. I think the thing is that it's much more jarring in this case because there's so much English in it. Like, Sata hero. It's like, okay, we know what the word hero means, so it's easy for us to understand what she's singing about, and the lyrics on the screen help too, obviously. But it's just like, okay,
Oh yeah, best cutscene.
the ultimate bomber. Oh, guys, we finally got to the fireworks factory.
Yeah!
Okay, so here's the thing. I remember you guys making that joke when they finally got to the tournament in Super, but doesn't everybody hate the tournament now?
This time,
Not entirely. It's just the problems are really obvious, and they should have been obvious to the production staff.
It's just the thing is that everybody's always like, oh, tournament arc, but then nobody actually likes the tournament arc. I feel like that happens in every anime.
To see the results of all our training and test out our sibling teamwork. Let's give it
So, normal day in the Bomberman training room, which I'm surprised actually exists, and also that everybody is sitting in here. So, like, isn't the whole point is that nobody goes to training with White?
fair, honest, and friendly.
And don't you just hate it when suddenly Dracula makes a warp hole into your training room and decides
What is a Bomberman?
just to screw with you?
Is that really the sort of pathetic nonsense you're expecting from the Big Bang Grand Prix?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Also, Pyramid Head's here.
And also somebody from Zone of the Enders.
Lord of Castlevania. I was interested to see how
Yeah, and that is Castlevania music they're remixing there too.
it seems I got my hopes up for nothing.
So John, how does it make you feel that Castlevania is a Bomberman now?
This is his final boss music from Castlevania 1.
Red, stop!
Oh, okay, it didn't sound this techno-ravey, but Pyramid Head doesn't belong in this game.
Hey, it's not just Pyramid Head. They have the busty nurses from Silent Hill 2 as playable characters now too.
Okay, that's fine.
What?
Yeah,
they fit more than Pyramid Head does?
you know, the busty nurses are, Bomberman guys already got like breasts for hands.
Oh yeah, they do. I forgot. That's a callback to a previous joke we made earlier in the commentary. Also, Vic Viper, the ship itself is a...
Simon Belmont and Jehuti.
Yeah, no, but Vic Viper, not the pilot, is the
Big Viper
Bomberman.
itself.
The actual ship.
Yeah.
Well, no, the Vic Viper was always the name of the ship.
Yeah, but now the ship is sentient and also a Bomberman.
Yes.
Also, I don't get why they had Vic Viper be the leader of this little trio.
You think it'd be Castle? You think it'd be Simon? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I guess they just didn't have, when they were making this cutscene, they didn't have the Zone of the Enders voice actors yet, so that's why none of them talk. Also, what kind of game even is Zone of the Enders? That was another Kojima thing, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Like, is it as nuts?
It's very anime.
Okay, that's a wide description.
Indeed. No, that'll kill you after use. I'm not a Belmont. It'll kill me.
No, he illegally downloaded the ability to use the Vampire Killer. Yeah, so all Jonathan Morris had to do was download VampireKiller.exe, and he would have been fine. Now available at your local Toys R Us for $8.99 plus tax. Konami is not responsible for any death or injury that may result as the use of memory cartridges.
That is more like it. Very well. Then we shall finish this at the Grand Prix. No
Tournament arc.
As far as I can tell, there's no ending cutscene, so this just kind of randomly exists.
It's not just this new power. We also
Still though, for free DLC.
Yeah, this is the Grand Prix mode's actually really interesting too. It's like it's
And everyone just wants to try the whip out.
yeah, basically. And so they all completely ripped Bomberman limb from limb. And that's why the game's over now. White is fucking
Just
dead.
in time for the 7-year gap.
So, with a hint of menace now in the air,
Hint?
the battle to decide the universe's best bombers begins.
This tournament is a creature of chaos. It may take many incarnations.
Tournament arc.